Understanding exponents. An exponent, or a power of a number, is a way of expressing that number multiplied by itself one or more times. Exponents are written as a smaller sized number to the upper right of the base number. Let's look at an example. 5 to the third power. This 3 represents our exponent. The 5 is our base. This expression means to multiply the 5 3 times. 5 times 5 times 5. This can also be written using parentheses, 5 times 5 times 5, or using small dots, also a multiplication symbol. Either way you see it, it means 5 times 5 times 5. The value of that expression would be 125. So 5 to the third power, or 5 cubed, is equal to 125. Let's look at another example. This is read 4 to the second power, or 4 squared. It means 4 times 4. This is read 6 cubed, or 6 to the third power. That means 6 times 6 times 6. You notice that I'm using different forms of multiplication. They all mean to multiply. 3 to the fourth power is read 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. The 2 as an exponent has a nickname of squared. The 3 is cubed. Once we get larger than that, we just read 3 to the fourth power. In this example, we have 8 to the fifth power, and that would mean we're going to multiply that 8 by itself 5 times. Let's look at a few more examples. 3 to the fourth power. If I would like to find the value of that, I have 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. I can use a calculator to multiply that out. If my calculator has an exponent button, y to the x or x to the y, we can use that. Check your calculator brochure. But if we need to multiply this by hand, remember that it doesn't matter what order you multiply numbers in. You can go straight across, or you can group these and say 3 times 3 is 9, 3 times 3 is 9, 9 times 9 is 81. 3 to the fourth is equal to 81. Grouping them makes it easier because you have these facts memorized. Let's look at 2 to the fifth. 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. Again, I'm going to group. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 2 is 4. I have a 2 left over. Again, you can group any way you want. If you think about it, we could do 16 times 2. I don't have my 16 times tables memorized, so I'm going to group these two and make it 4 times 8 because I have that memorized. 2 to the fifth is 32. So when you're working these by hand, use grouping to help yourself figure it out. But remember, the base is here written 5 times. The exponent tells you how many times.
I took a helicopter ride over Hawaii to view an active volcano. It is reported that the average volume of lava erupted at this volcano is about 120 million cubic yards per year. To get an idea of the amount of lava, I would like to convert this figure so I can get a picture of it. But before we do this, let's take a look at some footage of an active lava flow. On the average, that volcano puts out 120 million cubic yards per year. Now, I cannot envision that in my mind. And remember what a cube is? This is a cube. And that's 120 million. So I have to put 6 zeros after that. Cubic yards. And remember, volume equals side to the third power. I would like to know what is one of these sides. They're all the same. And this way I can get a little picture of how much lava erupts out of that volcano every year. Now, on a regular calculator, it's difficult, and you're not required to know this, but this is just a little math trivia, what I'm giving you right now. But this is a scientific calculator, and you're not required to have one for this book, but you need it for trigonometry. So if you have one, it's a very convenient device. And I just like to explain a little bit 2 keys on this calculator. One is the familiar square root key, but this also has, notice right over here, is x squared and square root to x. And it's in blue. And this is the second. To activate that upper one, you have to hit the second key, or what they call an invert key. And so if you have a number, say 5 to the second power, that equals 5 times 5, and that equals 25. And so in the calculator, all you do is clear it first. 5, x5 is 25. And to find the square root, all you do is press the second, and that gives you the square root back to 5. And you can use a large number. You can do 456 times 456 equals 207,936. And to find the square root of that, press second, square root, you come back to 456. Now there's another key right next to it. Notice it's y to the x power, and that's over here. And above it is a square root, and is y to an x unknown. And that's rather interesting. So let's do now, say to the third power. 5 to the third power equals 5 times 5 times 5. And that equals 5 times 5 is 25 times 5 is 125. And so now to use that key, all I do is press 5. Y, what should that exponent be? So I'm just going to put down 3, press equal, and that gives 125. Then I have the exponent 4, 5, 6, whatever number I want to. Well, we'll just go up to 3. And to find what that is now, we just press the inversion, what the square root to the third power is. Press on this particular calculator, this is called second. Press the button, and we want to do 3 times equals, and it gets 5 again. And so now what we want to do here with this number, and you're not required to know this or to use a scientific calculator, but it's something rather interesting on a calculator like this. And I'd like you to also experiment with your calculators. And if you have one of these, take out the manual and study the keys. There's many math problems that you can solve with the calculator. So let's put in this number, 120 million cubic yards. 120 and 6 zeros, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we want to go to the third. So second, press that key, and we do 3 equals 493. So the side equals 493 yards. That gives me a little bit of idea, but I like things in feet. I get a better vision of feet. So all I have to do is multiply that by 3 times 3 equals 1,479.7, or S equals 1,400 feet. So one side equals 1,480 feet. Now I get a little idea of the volume of 120 million cubic yards. Now I get a picture that it's roughly 1,500 feet high and wide and long. And so, as you can see, using one of these calculators, and you're not required to know this here, but it's something rather interesting what you can do on a calculator. It requires work learning algebra. But to learn how to do algebra, it will take lots of practice in learning how. It's like joining a team or becoming good in sports. It takes lots of hard work and practice. Then, after learning the basics, you can reap the benefits. As you look at these video scenes, think of all the practice these players went through in order to excel in what they are doing. These people that you saw in the videos had lots of fun doing the things that you saw. But before these sports persons could do the things they did, they had to spend lots of time practicing. It's the same with math. You must be willing to practice and learn. Then one day, you'll be able to earn good money and do exciting things with your math skills.
Please pause the video now and complete the problems in your workbook. When finished, press play, and we'll continue with the next lesson.